Hey everyone, today I want to show you how to use the average ifs function to find the rolling average over the last 7 days, the last couple weeks, or even use a combination of them to find a rolling average over the last couple weeks, maybe it's a week in the past. But anyways, pretty simple to do, but also can be very helpful if you are trying to identify recent trends. So I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. And all we're going to do for this is we're going to do equals average ifs. We're going to hit tab there. So that'll kind of generate the formula for us, what we need to do. So average range, we want to use the C column. This is the sales data we're using. We've got some dummy sales data here. So we're going to use an absolute reference there. And then criteria range 1 would be, we want to use the date range. So we're going to look, we want to find what the average sales were per day over the last 7 days. So we need to use some dates for that. So we'll just select that row and then make that an absolute cell reference as well. And then criteria 1, what we want to do, find the days that were today and earlier. So what we're going to do is we're going to use quotation marks, less than or equal to, quotation marks, and then today. And then if you hit tab, it will just fill in for you. So we're going to do close parentheses because we don't want to do anything with our today function. So basically what this is going to do, an average right now of anything before today, but we also want over the last 7 days. So we need to find what are the average for just these 7 days right here. So now what we're going to do, we want our other criteria range is going to be dates because we would need another date, which would be 7 days prior to today. So we'll click on our date column here, again, make an absolute cell reference. And then our criteria for this one, we're also going to use our quotation marks, but we want to do greater than or equal to quotation marks, and then today, and then we'll just hit tab, it'll fill that in. We're going to do close parentheses instead of just today, because this is going to do, based on the formula, it's going to be less than today and greater than today. So we need to do something to set that apart. And what that's going to be is we're going to do -7. So it's going to take today, minus 7 days. And then we can do close parentheses. Not going to work, but we'll just hit enter, and then we're going to exit out of that. So then it's going to give us $30,415 on average, what our sales were over the last 7 days. And so we can double check this. We'll just kind of highlight all those, and you can see by our average, that's exactly what the average was. So it's able to pull that data, and then as new days come online, let's say, you were to add the 21st, this will continue to roll as you have average date. So let's say today we'll do today -3. And then we're going to add days here. We're just going to kind of go through this. And then we're going to kind of just get a little funny here. So now you can see that average was adjusted because now it's taking the 7 days. So what this is doing now that I've got this highlighted, is taking the new days that are rolling in. And so with the formula, because we have today, we would need to adjust it so that it's -6 days. And that should give us the correct formula. And what that's doing is because if we have the actual day of today, it's going to pull that, and then it's going to pull the day because we have the greater than, less than, equal to, it's capturing both those days on the end, so you only have 6 days difference in between. So something to note as you're going through and doing this exercise, you just want to make sure that you double check that and everything looks okay, as we did, just depending on how you set up the day functions and the timing of the formulas. All right, so anyways, and we'll fix this. We'll just do -1. We're assuming today was the 20th, it's actually 21st today, but for our intents and purposes, let's say we want to do this again, but let's say we need to know the last 14 days or last 2 weeks. So we're going to do that again. Equals average ifs. Google Sheets is going to try and give us the full formula, which is great, not exactly what we're looking for. Now you could easily just go in, and instead of 6 you could do, or 7 you could do 14, but that's not what we want to do. We just want to write it out here. So we'll go ahead and select this is what we want to sum, is the average sales. So we're going to make that an absolute cell reference. Then we want our dates here. And then our criteria for this one is just going to be the same. So we're going to do quotation marks, less than or equal to, quotation marks, and today, tab. So that's today. That's assuming, the 20th and earlier. And now we want to do, again, that date formula. We want the other piece of the formula is going to be a day prior, sometimes in the past at some point. So now we're going to hit our comma. We've got that. And now it's wanting to know what's our other criteria. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. And we're going to do greater than or equal to and today. And then now we're going to do minus 14. So 2 weeks ago. And then we'll hit close parentheses, we'll hit enter. And it's giving us an average of $33,123. So let's highlight that. So we can look at those last 14 days and it's giving us that correct amount. So $33,132. So perfect. It's working out great. So let's say, hey, you know what? We need to know what the average is for the week prior to last week. So our sales data for the prior week. We're going to just do the same thing, but we're going to do something a little bit different. So we're going to do equals average ifs, and we want to average our sales again, absolute reference, and then we're going to go back to our dates here. And then now what we're going to want to do is less than or equal to and today, tab. But now we want to do the starting point, or the most recent date is going to be 7 days ago, because if it's the prior week. So then we're just going to do -7, and then we'll hit comma. So it's going to now go from a week ago. That's going to be our today, but -7 days, so that's going to be the 13th. So now for the other date we need to create as part of the formula, we're going to do that date column again, absolute cell reference, comma. And so now what we want to do is we're going to do quotation marks greater than or equal to quotation marks and today. And we'll just close parentheses, and we're going to do now -14. So our two goalposts in the past are going to be -7 days of today and -14 days of today. So it should capture this week right here. We'll hit close parentheses and we'll hit enter. Well, let's see where we went wrong. We did a comma instead of the equal sign. So let's hit enter, and that should give us a formula. And now let's check what this week is a week ago. So it's 35,050, which is a little bit different than what we have here. So let's try and figure out why that is. So again, as we look at our formula, this is taking today minus 7 days, so it's starting right there, and then 14 days beyond that. So what we're going to do with this formula instead, so what we're going to do now, instead of including it because it was pulling in an extra date there, we're just going to do is less than instead of equals to. And then we'll enter there. And that's going to give us our sales data for the week before. So it's easy as that. Again, it can be super helpful in identifying rolling averages and just finding out how well something's performing. You can use this, something that I've used this for is like a health tracker. You can put in certain things and it will give you the average of how you're performing given certain metrics and whatnot. So hopefully, I'm hoping this helps. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns in the comments, and please remember to like and subscribe to the Excel Guy. Thanks and have a great day.